Yeah.
Well, that just means she's gonna get taller.
Sometimes, my daughter was the same way.
Did you hear she got Player of the Year for that thing out of Cornell in the Evening Tribune? Remember what they gave to Alex? Grace got that Player of the Year award.
That's cool.
The old Boast and Brag Club.
No, I never knew that was one of her.
That's supposed to be a grandparent thing.
Couldn't find a parking spot.
I'm parked across the street.
You were better off walking from home.
I know. I had parked across the street. Pretty full.
Okay, now being 6 o'clock, got it right this time. Call the meeting to order. Would you join me in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please have a seat. Did Larry get home today?
Yes.
Okay, good.
He's doing
All
better.
right.
He texted me and said he's doing better.
Good. I saw him last night.
Yeah. Good.
Mr. Brockington had an episode this week and was over at the hospital.
He's pretty sick. They don't really totally know yet what's wrong.
Yeah.
He's got to go to his heart doctor.
Had a few episodes, I guess would be the correct way.
He did not look good when I went to him.
He got to try out the new ambulance from the backside. Okay. The only thing I have right now is just an update. Well, actually, we were supposed to have a privilege of the floor this evening for the gals doing the farmers market, but the one who's been working with me ended up having her baby today. And so she is obviously not going to be here this evening, and the others will probably come next week. In response to the several questions about the businesses down there, all of them have come back in the affirmative. Two of them were very absolutely positive about it, saying that they only could see how that would only help them. So,
as long as they knew, that was the biggest thing.
Yep.
Where's it going to go?
Ocean Street, between Main and Elizabeth Street. 1 day a week, June 22nd to, I want to say October 19th or something like that. Let's see, October 19th is a Saturday. 10 to 2. They need the board's approval so they can go ahead and make arrangements with the state and everything so they can get handle all the SNAP and all of that kind of stuff. So that is a positive move. And as far as correspondence and comments go, just a reminder that next week is the public hearing for our code, the local law to adopt the code. And I also received from both the chief and the DA, it's the same letter, a letter commending the efforts of the Dansville Police Department for their involvement in the drug task force crackdown here a week or so ago. It was a couple weeks ago, I guess now, maybe 3 even. So kudos to the police department. And with that, we'll go right into department head committee reports, legislative action items. Probably nada.
I did update the list because I had a few that I needed to delete from a little while ago, so I uploaded a new copy to the share folder.
Okay.
So that's dwindling down, but there was nothing new added.
Okay. Do you want to just speak briefly about the monitors and stuff here in the room?
Yeah, we did get a quote. Joel was able to stop in, I don't know, sometime last week. So we did get a quote on that. I also put that in the share folder. So the total cost to do the 2 screens and then a new workstation or computer for the mayor's desk would be $2,700, just over $2,700. That includes, you know, all of the cabling and all of that. So they did estimate as well for their labor included in that cost.
Okay.
So these are 55-inch.
Will that be a new monitor for that desk as well?
It'll be a new computer. They did not quote a new monitor.
The monitor's fine, so I don't think we need anything there. The problem is the computer. That thing's probably at least 10 years old, if not older, and
yes.
It is. I'm having more and more problems with it in the morning when I first turn it on. I'll get going on it, then it'll cut out. Sometimes it's getting bad.
Yeah, you needed a new one for a while. The life on a computer now, I don't think is any more than 5 years.
Yeah,
really,
this one's been
been
stretched to the
lucky.
max. Like to get our money's worth. Okay, anything else on that?
No, but once you guys take a look at it, if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll ask.
The only thing I've got, there's under legislative, well, actually, there are 2 items. One I'll ask you this one here, records destruction request. Is that in
So
the?
it's not in the share folder, it will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Jess just has to get down to the basement and then we'll have about 5 boxes. I think we're gonna request to destroy. And that'll keep our helper busy.
Yep.
For a little bit longer. We just finished up the last of what we had.
Okay, so that'll be next week, and also we'll be passing a proclamation for the quarterly fair housing ad that we have to do. Not a big item, and with that, we'll move on then to public safety. Trustee Zay?
Glenn, let's start with you.
Okay, we'll start off with the new truck. 3 members go down to the plant, they can look at the truck, it's coming along real quick. I got the packets here, it shows you all the way up to February. I think I sent them in the emails, I don't know if anybody got it. I tried to send something to you, I don't know if you got it or not, but I couldn't get it through, but these are the packets if you still want to take a look at them. And those are pictures all the way to February. According to Greg,
Federal fuel.
yeah, and what they did is they're taking steps from September, I think it was, and now it's all the way up to February, going up to, it's gonna be a big truck. It's good size,
It's gonna fit in the door, right?
yeah. Yeah, we don't have to tear it apart like we did with the old rescue.
Yeah, I remember.
They went there and did the pre-paint review,
Mhm.
checked the wells, they found a couple spots in the wells that they're gonna take care of because of air bubbles and everything. Greg got a phone call on Thursday, they estimated about 7 weeks to finish. So that's gonna push us into a final inspection the first week of May. And then I think Greg said it's gonna come up here and then be up in Niagara Falls and sit and wait because we can't do delivery till June.
Mhm.
Okay, so we made a couple adjustments on some things. We didn't realize there wasn't enough lights in the front, so we had to add on some more lights for protection for people. But it's going around. It's gonna be about 3,000 gallons of water that we can use. Which I'm happy, it's moving along good.
Good.
And I appreciate you guys working with us with this.
Gotta keep the
As-
community safe.
We need it. We gotta start thinking about what we're gonna do with 516. We surplus it or what, it's, there's still pumps, but it's to the point where the back door you can't even open up because it's rusting down so bad. So.
Well, we're not gonna keep it.
No.
I mean, so,
We don't need it for parts.
I guess, the last one, what did we do with it? What did we do? We took it to auction, right?
Yeah,
Stripped
I
it.
think
and-
that's what, yeah, so whatever you guys wanna do,
Anything?
Well, gotta wait till June to make that decision.
yeah, so,
Something to think about between now and then.
Yeah.
yeah. I just wanna let you guys know what you guys wanna do. We will strip it down. We will strip it down and keep the stuff that we need, the air pads and all the suction stuff.
Okay.
Okay, calls for February, we had 24, for the year up to 49. Response time was kind of slow, we went up to 9 minutes. And a lot of the calls were during the day, we had a lot of outside calls going out towards Wiley Road, out that way. I had one the other night, took me almost 6 to 10 minutes to get out there. And
Wiley Road.
That's all the way.
Oh, Willie, I call it Willie Road,
Oh,
yeah.
Wiley.
Okay, I know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
all the way, I think you take a.
Goes
left
over
on
the
that.
South Dance Hall.
Yep, it
Mhm.
goes into the Girl Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're doing a lot of traveling. On to times with the members. Okay, length of the calls that we've had, about 13 hours, put everything together. Manpower, we had 142 members throughout those calls for February. And then the total manpower between the chiefs being called out to stuff was 83 hours. So we're still getting a good response of people coming out, which is good. In the village, we had 8 calls on, and North Dansville, we had 4, and town, Dansville, Steuben County, area 6. So there's where a lot of that response time. And that was about it. The biggest thing was the truck. So we're having our elections tonight, finalize the elections, and then we closed out. So whoever's in would be voted in.
When's the dinner? 30th?
30th.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And who's running for chief? I've been nominated again for another 2 years. Brian Wood, first assistant, and Greg
Okay.
coming back in.
Recycling.
Glutton for punishment.
So we'll find out if anybody decides to run tonight against us, but if not, that's what we're looking at.
Okay. Sounds good.
Tuesdays, like next week. Is that mandatory now to still come, or have we
If
decided?
you've got nothing new to add to it, I don't see any reason for it unless the board
Yeah,
wants
I
you
just
here.
want to make sure, because I'm going to be
I
starting.
didn't put anything down in writing or haven't, but that's basically it, especially for you.
The
And
state's got me going out to Buffalo to do fire inspection, so be
uh,
cutting it tight to get out.
if there is anything you can't make it, just send us an email.
Okay, sounds good. That's all I have.
Okay. You have, out of curiosity, it's not something I need or actually want, but do you have an idea of what the normal hours are that you can call, or the hours you most often get called out for?
Actually, I can probably find that out.
I don't want you to do any extra work.
No, I got stuff printed out, hours and all that stuff.
Travel times probably motor vehicle.
That's the problem, is the travel going to the places.
No, but I mean like the hour of the day. You're most often called out.
Yeah, I know, hold on, I got it right here. Between 7 and 7:58
Okay.
a.m. There's 3, 4, 15, that's up to like 39. That's tied to the 7:50 going up to about 10. But I can give you this, because I have it.
Well, that's okay, you don't have to.
Oh, might as well. If you want to look at it, it's not a big deal. It's just a graph shows you our responses
Mhm.
and the times.
Just curious if there's some sort of a trend.
It seems to be hitting. I've been sitting at my desk or out in the field at work, and my phone goes off during the days. And that's where we're getting hurt.
Mhm.
You don't have forced to wheel around like we used to, or everybody was out of town.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Do you want to talk to you?
Yes, so.
Which way? He was being polite.
Yeah, Glenn.
Have a good one, Glenn.
Amy, you're up.
Sent my report last week, no updates except for as of 5 o'clock tonight. I've now completed the mandatory 24 hours continuing education for the year 2019 as required by the state, so I'm still a state certified code officer. And I can tell you that if any of the houses, just this afternoon our class was on wood web floor joists, and they're only manufactured to last 15 minutes in a fire. So if it takes them 9 minutes to get to the fire, don't go in the house, because they'll go through the floor.
Isn't that like the silent floor is the one with the acetate between 2 cords?
Yep. They only have to, by
Well, they're
ICC
glue.
state law.
They're glue lamps, really.
They-
I mean,
yeah,
the
they
particle
only-
board's
they
glue,
only-
so I mean, it
they-
can only burn just, burn
It
quicker
only,
than
it only
the
has
thing.
to last 15 minutes, and you'll go through the floor.
But isn't it funny that they make like the 5/8 drywall, make you double it up between a garage and stuff, so your floor's gonna
Well,
buckle,
not
but don't
anymore,
worry, you won't
though.
get anything out of the garage.
Not anymore, though. They actually, our new laws that took effect this past fall, now, we don't have fire rates between garages and houses anymore. You just have to have one layer of drywall as of, it was like
5/8?
October, of one layer of 5/8, and that's it. They just want a slight barrier between the garage fire and the house.
But don't worry, don't stand on the floor.
But don't stand on the floor, so, if you read my email, it probably didn't sound too positive, but this year's really looking like a slow, hard economic year for the village. By March, I normally have 40 building permits on the books for the last 11 years. I only have 12. People don't have the money. There's no new businesses. People don't have the money to do the work that requires a building permit. We're just looking at, this year's probably going to be a banner year of well over 500 property maintenance violations. Last year there was over 350. It's just going to be, people don't have the money, so it's going to be staying on them to keep their properties picked up, cleaned up, and paint what you can. So, keep me current on fire inspections, because I'm about 250 behind right now, according to the state of New York, but we'll get caught up on those this year now. So,
How's the grease trap issue?
rectified. We got that covered.
All 100% compliant?
Yeah,
Nice.
right down to Wong's Kitchen.
Very good. Good
Yeah,
job.
I got one
Must've missed that
church.
meeting.
I got one church that's still balking me about it, but Grace Baptist down on Main Street or North Main Street.
They're not even on the village though.
Right.
Yeah, but they're on our water and sewer.
They're on our water and sewer
Mhm.
though, and they're still balking about putting a grease trap in, and they insist that since they've hired architect Rex Simpson, who was my college professor at Alfred, to do their addition and renovation that they're doing this coming year, that Rex told him, just tell Tammy I'm your architect and she'll let you hold off on the grease trap till we do the renovation. And they called me and told me that, and I said, no, that's not how it works, you gotta get it in, but, yeah, they're the only place that everybody else has had it in for months.
Nice.
Got it done, good, well. So, anybody see anything, have any questions about anything? Anybody wanna, oh, well, you can email me or call me if you wanna go over the sloppy copy of the state's 1203 report that I got in last month. It's kinda interesting to look at, I have to do a summary of all commercial buildings and what's in them and how many we have and how many are sitting empty for the report. And so I have that copy in my office. I'll go over it with anybody that wants to. They can stop by. It's
What's a good
Kinda
number to
interesting.
get you at?
335-6955. That's the office, and it has an answering machine. And it's those commercial buildings numbers are kind of eye-opening for the village. So y'all can go get new businesses to come in, fill our empty buildings. We got a lot.
We do. Mike.
My next.
Give me copies for the
report. I got printer happy today.
Yeah.
Actually. Thank you. Danny and you guys are gonna have to stay, I'm gonna use 15.
Clear copy, but it ran out of paper.
No, I had another thing to add to it, so. We had 116 calls for the month. We covered 114. We dropped one primary and one secondary. But we still had a 98% coverage rate. Nothing really fancy. We've had quite a few saves. I had a Code 500 that brought back the other day down with the Dogwood Day treatment. And then we had a Narcan girl over here in the Salvation Army lot we brought back. So that was a good thing as far as all that goes. We had 1,150 scheduled hours. We had very few openings. We've had really good luck. And we're really short one of the bigger drivers because with Shannon being gone, he usually covers about 100 hours a month. So the other people stepped up the pace. And with Shannon being gone, it really actually, Larry's our member too. So Larry's covering a lot here, so it really kind of has put us to a task as far as drivers go, but we've done really well. We had 70 calls to noise. We only had 21 refusals. I'm pretty sure this is kind of built a little bit. We all received, all the EMS in the area received notices from Rochester that they want us to make sure we go to our local hospitals. They don't want us in the cities anymore, basically because they're overloaded. But on the other aspect of it, they're all U of R hospitals now. So I think they're trying to promote it, which has really worked well. I don't know how many of you have been in the emergency room over here, but it's a pretty busy joint anymore. I mean, I have no, in that 10-year span, it's really, and they have pretty much, I think they have 6 doctors from the U of R on rotation. So absolutely a great addition to what we do. And St. James is on the pace to be up here probably in another 8 months. So we'll probably see a little more of that too, going that way again. For a long time we didn't because it didn't do much. But mental health is a big issue. I know it's a big issue for Charlie. It's a big issue for us. The noise mental health. I had conversations with Amy Pollard the other day. We legally can't transport them if there's nothing medically wrong with them. So that puts the pressure on you guys to transport them. So that's a problem. I don't know if it's going to get any worse because mental health is getting worse every day. So I don't know if they're going to have to talk to Amy just because I needed Amy to understand it wasn't us, and she understood it. So I don't know if they're going to have to look for a private transport company or something or maybe they'll make this a mental health hospital, which will really be good to a point, but right now you have to take them to Warsaw or Rochester, so it really takes a lot of time out of everybody's day. So.
We had that discussion last month, didn't we? Transporting.
It's time consuming.
Yeah, it is. It really is, so. So I gave you, I sent you the reports, you should have that email and have that back. The next thing I have, and I brought this up before, we have the Medicare contract that we need to sign with the county. Basically, this is the same contract you've had for 3 years. You have to have this agreement. I didn't realize all this till we dug into it a little deeper. We cannot bill, you guys cannot bill Medicare if we don't have a joint ALS agreement. Okay? That's always been a stickler on our part and on your part. They charge us $225 a month. That fee is not going up. And I don't know if you guys all read it or not, but I gave you a contract to give everybody. But anyways, what it boils down to, we physically had a meeting with Karen, the director, here, and we told her that first off is we tried to get her to drop the rate. And I'm going to show you here in a minute why she can't drop the rate. And she can't, basically, without going through all their steps to try to drop the rate, but she said it will never happen. And right now, they're in a legal battle with Mount Morris because Mount Morris is refusing to pay that much. So they're actually in a lawyer situation, and we don't want to get into that. But we did tell her that we were concerned that we were paying for something if we didn't get paid. So we are not. She's agreed that, and I've talked with Megan here. When we get their monthly bill, we're going to take their monthly bill, match it against our bill with medics. If we've been paid, then Megan's going to pay them. Otherwise, we're not paying them.
That's what we've always been looking for.
Yeah, it's never been really the cost, it's been
Yeah,
the fact that we're paying them something we don't have.
Yeah, once we get paid for it, then we can reimburse, but we can't reimburse if we have never had paid.
Here's a breakdown how this works, just so you guys all understand how this all works, and I'm gonna let you guys share this one. On the first page, you'll see the ALS emergency rate. The maximum that Medicare will let us bill is $4 1/4. Right now, our rate is $3.32. And that's what basically we're being reimbursed right now. Plus the mileage on the bottom, we get $12.27 for every mile we go loaded one way. This is what hurts us because we're so close to the hospital. The other agencies in the county get a lot of mileage. Coming from Livonia down to Noise, they get an extra 25 miles or whatever, so we don't get that. The BLS emergency, you very rarely will get charged for that because that's only if we drop a call. So 98% of the time, you're never going to get charged for that. So that's how the Medicare is billed. If you flip it over, I kind of did some math for us, and basically I took our budget for the ambulance, for the Dansville ambulance is $182,775 a year. That's our expenses, all right? I took what we told you guys that you needed for maintenance, fuel, and all that type of stuff is $6,000. So if you add that together, it's $188,775,000. I divided that by our transports last year of 1,080. So it comes down to, it costs us about $175 every time the ambulance goes out the door, okay? So that's why Karen can't drop her $225 rate, because she's got a lot more expenses than we do, because her ALS, they got a lot more medicine, and they gotta pay their paramedics and everybody else. So basically, if you take that billable rate on the first page at $332, if you pay the county $2.25, that leaves us $107 for us. So we're basically $70 short when we have an ALS call with a, you know, ALS on board. If we get some mileage, it'll bring us close to being even. I'll be honest with you, I think the only way we can reconcile it is, and I kind of made this a goal going forward. We've already raised the rates this year, okay? So I would hope in January or at the end of December, we'll come back to you and say we need to raise the rates again. So maybe we can close that gap a little bit. Not saying that we, have to or don't, but you need to keep pace. Obviously, if Medicare is going to let us get 4.25, we should be trying to get 4.25. But
Isn't that all set? Can't we set that in an
Yeah, I was gonna say,
organization?
our organizational meeting's normally when we set it.
So you set
And
it
that's
in
in April.
okay.
So that should just be presented
Okay,
like
but-
next week for the organizational.
But you gotta remember that if we raise this rate for Medicare, we have to raise all the rates again. So that means anybody being billed individually is gonna get a rate increase again too, which I have no problems doing. I'm just playing the advocate, that you're trying to protect your village too. The people that can't afford, we've been through that a dozen times too. So I'm not saying we can't raise that rate. Absolutely, if you wanna raise that rate, we can definitely do that.
Just give us a recommendation, what you think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me,
Move forward and,
and that's what, next week, you said?
no, it'd be
No,
the
no, no.
first meeting in April.
Okay.
So it's called the organizational meeting. They set all the rates for the following year, whatever them rates would be, so.
All right, well, maybe that would be a better time anyways for the whole renewal every year, that we could just do it in April. Okay. All right, let me work on that and I'll get back.
Okay.
I'll email it to you. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you recommend no, then we won't. If you recommend
I
yes,
think at
then we
least we
will.
should get it enough so we're at least breaking even. That would be, I guess that would be my recommendation. I don't know all those numbers right at the moment, but at least now we know how much it's costing us to go out the door.
Okay.
That includes everybody's stipends and all that stuff. Basically, when I did our budget, and Greg and myself and Shannon did our budget, we end up about $10,000 to the plus, but $16,000 of that is coming from our savings investment. So we'd like to get away from that. We'd like to crunch our numbers better so that we're dead even and not have to use money from that. And it also depends on what the Omni are basically we fundraise through the year. So those two things are what you're kind of variable.
This might come under the same conversation, but, the mileage, like you got a mile and a quarter or a mile and a half in this area, Maybe there's a base rate where we can adjust that to, so, you can come up.
Is there a
somewhere.
minimum you can offer? Is that what you're probably getting at, like a minimum of?
Yeah,
Even though you're going out, there's gonna be a minimum mileage of 5 miles.
kinda meet with.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can do that with the, I'm
And
not sure. I'd have
average,
to, I'll have to ask medics for that.
Yeah, that way, that would help bring that up to where you are breaking even,
Yeah, and that's where we get hurt. If we go to strong with a patient, absolutely we'll win, okay? So on an average, we're probably not far from breaking even, but we only go to strong.
Yeah, that would be the biggest thing, is see if they can do like a 5 mile minimum. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I know that if you go in, like back in the day, if you called for Shay's big record, there was a mandatory
yeah.
minimum of this.
Oh,
It was a starting fee. It used to say it cost you
Start the
$175
engines up,
Yeah.
It was $175 to start the engine,
Right.
yeah.
so you knew that going in.
We only went to strong 9 times last month, and probably,
114.
yeah, and on an average, probably those 9 maybe were not all were Medicaid, so you're probably maybe half of that. So you're probably not close to even yet, but if we raise the rates, we can get up there. So So basically, I guess what I'm, all in all, in the end of this, I'm looking for approval to sign this. They have this as me signing it as the director, so. We approved it at our board meeting, at our meeting last month. So the contract.
So everything in there is the same, other
Absolutely.
than,
We don't have to sign that?
She told me, and it's got us on this.
In the past, we've signed it.
You can, she said, didn't matter who did whatever.
Mhm.
I've got 2 copies here, you can definitely sign it if you want.
but the only difference, my question is they're not gonna get paid until we got paid.
Absolutely.
That is all I ever cared about.
Yep. And Megan and I have talked to her on
All I
that.
ever cared about.
So Megan's gonna give me the report. See, the only reason I have it down is BLS signing it.
We get paid
Okay.
first.
Well, I think we ought to still at least vote on it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have it in our records that we approved you guys doing it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you give her a copy, she can put it in the file,
I'll give her
then
a
we can
copy.
vote on it next week.
Yeah, she's got a copy of it.
Okay.
All right, I'll wait to hear from you then before I send it
Okay.
to her.
Mhm.
You didn't think there's anything we need to sign then?
Doesn't show it.
Yeah, the way it is, it has it down as a BLS agency. See, it's here, so.
Okay.
if
I mean, we
you
can
sign-
still put our chop on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just do it that way.
Okay.
So we'll sign it, then give it back to you, and you can sign it.
So you should do both of these, because one's for.
Okay.
you, And she has one.
All righty.
Okay.
So we'll act on that next week and get it done.
All right, and then I'll come back with a recommendation on the rates,
Mhm.
within a week. Other than that, I don't know of anything else we got going, nothing's, ambulance is doing well.
Good.
Yeah,
Building's doing good.
yeah, we're gonna hopefully get a new roof here shortly.
The three of us are gonna do it.
Yeah, you know, we're not, I told you 20 years ago, maybe.
We're too old for that.
They've all tried to talk us into that, and every one of us keeps shaking our head, no, that roofing stuff's way beyond anybody anymore.
We're not retired, we're just tired.
21 years old, maybe 21. I put the first one on, the Bennett.
You wanna do it again? We'll-
No, I'm good.
So, any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah?
No, I'm good. Moral support, that's all I need.
See you guys.
See you later, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
See ya.
Charlie?
Well, we got many irons in the fire, but everybody's holding their own. Don't want to wish my life away, but it'll be nice when August is here, get people back to work, a couple more bodies in here. Other than that, just trying to shop around to find someone who wants to install equipment in police cars. No easy pickings there. So, the tried and true installer is, as I said previously a month ago, they're putting this off till end of April, no, end of March, first part of April. They said the first break they're gonna get. So, poked around a couple other options. I left you an email that said what those were. I don't wanna disrespect one in front of the other on recording. The email explains what's in there. So I've got one other option that we used to use many years ago, that we had some difficulties with. At the end, they had done many years of good work for us, but they had one bad year there. So I'm gonna please touch base with them to see what they've got available, if they're still even in business or not. And, that might be an option if they're still in business, and maybe it's worth a shot trying again. Or we wait around to stick to what we've used the last couple of years, when they can fit us in here towards the end of the month, first part of April. No good options.
Any questions for the chief?
Are you looking for direction
Do
from
they have
us?
a guide out, do they have, I probably told everyone, do they have a person come right into Genesee down there that does it? Down in Genesee?
They got a guy that works there.
Their folks,
Did they do that installing right there?
mixed reviews on it.
Okay.
One person says, yep, good to go. Another mechanic who claims he's repaired he made corrections on their installation.
They did the installation on my car. It's not a marked car, but it still has similar lights, and I've never had an issue with mine, but I don't know who else has had what. My install was done on through Genesee Valley. I think they did a good job.
The installer now has taken their place. he brought up his own accord that he was advising that was not a place to go.
Right now, we've got 0, we don't have a car to drive. So.
Oh, we got cars to drive.
Well, they're driving the cars, it just,
We gotta probably ought to take a
Police
chance on whether it's a good install or not.
I mean, if you're coming and looking for my advice, and you know, I'm
Yeah,
always
either way.
good to give it, it's March
13th.
and they're saying they can get you in at the end of March.
That's what they said.
We know 1075 does good work because they've done the other work, correct?
They've done 1, 2,
So
3.
we've only waited how many months, and we're talking about 2 weeks? I think that it's pretty safe to say that, I guess in 2 weeks, potentially 3 weeks.
I'll touch base with him again to see how it's looking. I told him, I said, pencil me in for the first available spot you
No
have.
pen us in, no pencil.
Erase
Marker, whatever you need, no dry erase,
And I told him,
permanent.
I said, well, I said pencil us in for the first opportunity you have, and I said, realistically, I'm being completely
Are all
sincere.
the parts ordered, ready to go? Because what's gonna happen is they're gonna get the car and go, well, you haven't ordered X, Y, and Z, and then everything's gonna go back on
We've
it.
got everything to go in one, and then I'm waiting for, a member of another agency that told me he may have parts available from a car they had.
I don't know anything about that one. I don't do the car stuff,
So
so.
whoever does the car stuff there suggested that they would have, some stuff available for us from a car that they had that was wrecked, that would be available to us. So it's been just about, probably tomorrow will be 2 weeks from that conversation, and I give him another holler to see if he's had a chance to evaluate that. So-
Yeah, because what happens if they call and go bring both cars up, that don't work out.
Well,
So now you gotta have everything ordered, because otherwise we're still on our back
because what
burner.
we'll do is we'll take one car up at a time, and we'll leave the other one here for court transportation and things of that nature, what we've been using it for.
Yeah, either way, I mean, I think if you're 2 weeks away, potentially 3, we've only sat on it we only sat with no car for 6 months. So, I mean, I guess 3 weeks is small potatoes, right? If that's where you know you're going. But I would love to see that everything is all shored up on the fact that when this is a go, everything is not a, well, okay, over here, there. I mean, that thing should be ready to go, if not already sitting on their lot, so that they don't need to call and say, hey, we got an opening tomorrow, it's already there. That car's already in. I would take at least one of them with every piece that you need and have it delivered and have it up there. And I would like to see that done like ASAP, so if they get a chance to squeak you in a week early. Because if the car's sitting in their face, they want it gone. And the second one, I would tomorrow morning make that call to whoever this other person is, and if that's not the case, then all that ordering needs to get done so that that car's ready to go, because potentially maybe they can do them back to back, and we could be back into service. The other thing is, I mean, one could be up there getting striped.
Yeah, the only difficulty with striping it first is kind of like painting your house and installing carpet, and it gets nicked and dinged, and with everything coming in and out.
Well, most of the work's being done inside. I mean,
Kind of gets reversed, kind of gets usually done in another order, but.
either way,
Yeah, that's all. Pattern's all the same.
but, I mean, if you're 3 weeks away, I don't think that we should go in a different direction other than. But if it's gonna be longer, then something's gotta happen. I mean, come on, this is getting long.
It'd be nice if we had a better idea by next week.
I'm sure we will.
Well, then some hard decisions can be made.
As a group, we just gotta figure out a better way, because this has been, thought we were getting quotes in the beginning of June. These cars will be April, that'll be 10 months of trying to get a car. I mean, it's gotta be a better way than that.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Well, I'm pretty sure the sheriff's office doesn't take that long. You
No
know,
idea. No idea. No, it's like delivery. How many times, what week did you get told? I know we waited 3 Fridays past the time you said you were going to be told, so.
Yeah, that was,
Last I heard it was
that whole deal was suspect, to be quite honest. Yeah, I mean, not nothing on your part.
No.
It was on their part. You know, supposedly they had stuff on the lot ready to go, and it took, 2-3 months, before
Five
we actually got it. You know, you thought December,
Yeah.
and we actually ended up with it, in, February?
The bids
We
were-
thought it'd be done at 1075 by Christmas.
Yeah,
The bids were supposed to be for cars on the lot.
Yeah.
How hard is it to deliver them from New Jersey to New York? Apparently very hard.
but when they did it, it didn't take long at all, so
Well, other than they mentioned, they told you they'd be, the following Friday.
yeah.
And 3 Fridays after, and a Monday.
Because in somewheres in there, they had to put something on something, I forgot what it was, something
Fog
on the fog light.
Which,
And-
I don't even recall that being part of the package.
It made no sense, which means they scammed us as far as I'm
Shouldn't have had
concerned.
anything.
We would have been better off just to have gone with Genesee Valley or something.
We're better off going on a
Just
website,
ordered
buy
it.
a couple.
Yeah,
Well, if we're willing to wait 3 weeks and we haven't heard from them, say, the 2-week point, and we can't get a commitment from them, then there's probably a good chance that they're not gonna be ready at 3 weeks to do the job, and we ought to look at, the alternatives out there. So we can move this forward. I understand that, they've got some bad press, but, in the interest of time, we need to move this along, and if we can't get a commitment from them, prior to that 3-week deadline, if we wanna set that as a deadline, then we need to look at the alternatives that are out there for us.
Well, there's, like I said, there's one other alternative I'm gonna look at anyways.
Yeah.
Like the other 2 I've already looked at.
Yeah.
It's just, they washed each other out.
I've just never heard of a police agency having trouble getting a police car in service. I've heard of no other, in 22 years, where you
Makes no
can't get a
sense.
police car in service, can't get a car delivered, or then once it's there, get it in service.
Should be a priority item.
Collectively, you just got figured out because I know we paid $6,000 more than the county did.
Yep.
For basically the same exact cars. We paid 39, they paid 33 for Fords. We switched to Tahoes, the county did, just for $1,500 more, you can get a way better car. It's just, and we still paid less for the Tahoes than we paid for Fords here. So as a group, gotta be doing something wrong. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. That's taxpayers' dollars that we just kind of threw away. I go back to, we could have bought 3 Dodge Chargers and they had money left over for what we paid for 2 Fords.
yeah.
You saw the bids that I saw.
I'm saying something's wrong in the process
Mhm.
because there's no way that a bid should come back that high compared to what the county gets. It's all open bidding, OGS, right? So we did something wrong. As a group, we gotta figure it out.
Mhm.
We could have bought 3 Chargers for 75 grand. Bought 2 Fords for 80. I could do math. I mean, I'd rather have 3 Chargers. I think it's a lot of car for the village, but they're also pretty maneuverable for a village.
I just grabbed them.
I just drove one, brand new one, 17 miles when I pulled it out of Highwood. They're alright, similar to the older cars that they're used to drive, just not as big. A little bit smaller, so it's a lot of engine, but talking a lot of money.
Anything else on cars? Beat ourselves up, I guess, on that one.
Yeah.
Anything else there, trustees, eh?
Any updates to the rules and regs? Accreditation process? Looking at the action item list.
Well, let's see, we have 192 hours of mandatory coverage. And we have, if everybody's here, we have 224 hours of potential man hours. And that doesn't take anything into account other than mandatory patrol functions. Covering the village, taking calls, covering the court, and contractual obligation on Friday and Saturday. So that leaves us about 30 hours a week for payroll, evidence, scheduling, training, court testimony, arrest package reviews, accident report reviews, on and on and on. So until we see a change in manpower, there's just not any time in the first week. That's been really the way it's been for a long time. Even with 7, if you have 7 people working, you got more people, but they're generating more stuff to review and talk about and go over. So I still maintain that Lexipol is the way to go. But the downside, well, it's not a downside, it's just not a necessary obligation that even if you go with Lexipol, you gotta have so many hours a week that you can dedicate to work with Lexipol. And there just isn't those hours in the course of a week.
So if we pay Lexipol $4,800, we just basically threw it out the window is what we're getting at.
Right now, I wouldn't suggest spending it right now, no, but I think that's where ultimately the solution lies. To have the bodies that are available to cover everything that needs to be covered and then generate 4, 6, 8 hours a week where someone could ideally dedicate to working with Lexipol, which was the original theory. The folks that have Lexipol still swear by them. And more and more business, more and more police cars are going with them. But they do say that, you know, you have to be able to have the time to work with the company to make it fly. It's a lot like, it's exactly the same thing as we did with the code. It's exactly the same thing. It's too big a project to do in-house, so you have to farm it out, but then you have to have so many hours that you can actually put into working with them. And it's difficult, it's very difficult to find those hours. We haven't spent the money yet, so I would suggest at this point not spending it because it's not money well spent at this point because we don't have the man hours to put into it. But at some point when we have the man hours to put into it, then just like general code, try to scarf out the hours per week to work with them to get it done. And that project's no different than anything else that came down the pike. If someone came up with we want 10 hours a week traffic enforcement on Franklin Street. You know, it would be a bear to dedicate a car to 10 hours a week on Franklin Street. Something else would have to give for it. You'd have to give up something else, someplace else to get 10 hours a week on Franklin Street. Just as an example.
So I take it the answer is nothing?
Sounded like no to me.
Well,
It is.
Well, I just don't bring it up because I know it was going to be a priority in 2019 to update rules and regs.
It's going to be a priority in 98.
Well, at some point it's got to happen though, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying. You got to shop it out. You got to get an outside service to assist. And we're not alone in that. Batavia, Genesee, Arcade, Warsaw, Attica, New York State Park Police, SUNY. Everybody's doing the same thing because everybody's having the same difficulty. We're not alone.
It starts with a step in the right direction though.
I did. I investigated a company that's more than capable of helping us.
But not a single rule and reg, right?
One,
And the Shannon wrote,
yes.
is my understanding. No other rule or reg is updated. Even after we total a car, like we don't even look at an accident policy that I know they exist in the county
Well, for
to
example,
lay it right out. I mean, it's a simple phone call saying, hey, can I see your accident policy? You know, I think that, I just want to let you know, I think it's only fair we made it a priority.
Mhm.
And apparently it's not. So
Well, you have to put the resources behind the priority.
I agree.
So give me the resources, you get the priority.
I think it's your job.
I've offered, I've suggested, I've provided a company budget, and it's been passed in the budget and then taken away from me. Coincidentally,
I'd like to see step one, I guess, is what I'm saying as a board member.
step one was you asked for a solution, I gave you a solution.
No,
And a price.
no, hang on, let me, you say that the solution you provided is unattainable because you don't have the time or the availability
No,
to
the
do that.
resources, right.
So your solution technically was not a solution. It was basically a pay this company, but we can't really fulfill that commitment.
At
So
the
that's
time.
not a solution. So I guess.
So now the solution has to be revised based on the resources we have.
What would the revision be, Charlie? When would those resources be available?
At this point, it does not appear before August. At
Okay,
this point,
we got,
you have August with 2 people coming back to work theoretically, which I would anticipate would happen, unless something truly unfortunate occurs, which I'm hoping is not the case, but based on what you could presume is going to occur, 2 bodies come back in August. And there's an 8th position in the new budget to assist not only with my difficulties and needs, but the other officers' difficulties and needs as well. We currently go into every single work week 80 hours short. On top of the 2 people we lost is another 80 hours. So we go into every work week 160 hours short. And the guys downstairs do a really, really good job under those circumstances. They have, not just this year or last, but for decades.
any estimate on the number of hours it would take to complete a project like this?
I'm only guessing right now on the basis of the suggestions that was made to me of having 4 to 8 hours a week available to work with the company.
For how many weeks?
That's a good question. I'm guessing that most people I've talked to said a year to 18 months. There's probably 100 policies that would be theoretically probably put in place.
Would this company be available if we have available manpower to say, work in the range of 20 to 40 hours a week? Or are they only available to come out to work with us 4 to 8 hours per week?
I would tend to believe they're probably able to do more.
Do more?
I think they could probably do more.
So if we could find perhaps a retired law enforcement person to fill that void or that need, that would be one option.
It could be an option.
Okay. We want to have somebody that has law enforcement background
Yeah,
experience, but
you gotta be knowledgeable on
yeah.
this community and law enforcement in general.
Would you know of anybody that you would recommend here locally that could come in and provide that service?
I have to ponder that a little bit.
Okay.
Not off the top of my head.
I don't know what the board thinks about this, but I think at this point to move forward, we got to be thinking along those lines.
You have to put the resources behind it.
Having somebody come in and work with this company and try to, you know, push it along.
You know, you can't put any more water in a saturated sponge. It's as simple as that.
So I think that's where we're at.
Anything else?
Guess not.
We'll move along to budget, finance, and audit.
You're done with public safety?
Yep. Sure.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Speaking of budget, I hear that there's a budget. I have not seen a budget.
There is not a budget yet.
Oh, well, I just heard there was
You
maybe
will have
one.
Well, there are some,
Tentatives?
I wouldn't even say that. They're getting pretty solid, but you'll have them by the end of the month.
Other than that, I don't have anything. Is there any budget modifications for next weekend?
Yes,
Or next week?
we should have quite a few. We had decided that we were gonna go ahead and modify salaries now, because the last budget was approved prior to the union contracts being approved. So there's a difference. We're gonna go ahead and do that now because that's gonna help just with the paper trail for when the new budget is approved and so that the percentages are accurate. So you guys will see in the share folder, I think I have all of the personnel modifications done. I wrote draft on there because then I'm gonna try to add some more. I try to get as many as I can done before we do the year end, just to make it a little easier. So we'll have quite a few modifications. So I wanted to get you what I had. As I update them, I'll just keep putting them on the share folder, just so that you guys don't have so much to review, you know, just before the meeting next week.
And we have to approve the budget in May.
It has to be sent to Albany or approved by the 1st of May. We have to have the budget public hearing not later than the 15th of April. I have to have the proposed budget to you by the end of the month. Which I would suggest that we probably have maybe a special meeting so we could sit down and go through it together without, you know, as a workshop rather than as a regular meeting. Then we can, before that time period anyway. Okay. Anything else, Trustee Rittenhouse?
No.
Okay, Public Works. Oh, wait a minute. I just got a couple questions. We heard anything from Freed Maxick on the audit?
No.
Okay. Then we'll move right along then to Public Works. Trustee Nagel, Water and Sewer.
Don't have anything. Scott, you got what you got over there?
Water and sewer. Chris went to Morrisville and
got his basic ops, and passed that, so that's, you guys will see some slips in the bills this month for that. Dougie, I believe, is gonna try to take his test next week for his 3A license, so that'll be good, get that over with. Woody's actually down at the plant, he's a pretty good asset down there,
Who was that?
Brian.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's pretty mechanically inclined kid, so it's kind of really.
Yeah, it's good,
down there.
might be
We've
a
had
good
lot
spot
of-
for him.
We've had a lot of breakdowns, not breakdowns, but just issues, and a lot of the issues were there when the plant was built. We just had to buy some expensive solenoid valves. Since day one, I think they've rebuilt it down there in the head end. Had some valves that close really fast. You know, you got that water rushing through, bam.
Yep.
We put some things on, and some other people came in.
Is that what caused the leak in the one building?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think you saw the little area that Dave built for the
Yep.
septic receiving system.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of bills in there, but that's nice, that way they
Yeah.
come in the back door, take care
In fact,
of it.
they had some septage come in while I was down there last week talking with them about it. The guy didn't come inside while I was there, but, you know, it was all set up, ready to go, and Doug was showing me around. Doug and Woody, both of them.
Yeah, that'll be a good asset. You know, all the septic receiving guys came right into their office using their equipment, you know, their dirty feet, da-da-da. Now they come in the back door and boom, right there, you know. But other than that.
Did you get your permit?
Pardon?
Did you get your permit?
Permit, no.
For the plumbing?
She said I'm good. Waived it.
Little inside joke.
But other than that, at the plant, everything's going good, with the water and sewer plant. This is just, I guess, in case it happens again, but Jim Gross called me tonight, and they were having an issue with a plugged line. I mean, I know it's a hospital, it's private, but what do you guys feel about that if, you know, we had to go over there with the jetter? How would we handle? I couldn't, you were out campaigning, and they finally got a local guy that could take care of it. What would, I told him, I said, without the mayor's permission, I can't go over, you know, it's private property. But it's the hospital, and, you know, the jetter we have is very hard to come by, you know, within a few hours. They're just not, you know, you're gonna get something out of the city, but it's gonna take time. I don't know if there's any kind of an agreement we could have to help the hospital out. I don't know.
And you start going down a slippery slope when you're doing
Yeah,
things without any kind of an agreement that's illegal.
I don't
I mean,
know.
legal other than the fact, besides, I was just saying we'd help them out. I don't know what the grounds for that would be. An emergency, if it were a serious thing for the hospital, I would say yes, but no normal plug? I don't know.
If they weren't the hospital, would we be having this conversation?
That's
But
what like
the
tonight,
emergency is the biggest thing.
it was
Yeah.
running inside the hospital tonight. I mean, they had to get it fixed. I mean, it's a hospital and they're trying to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is
I mean, it's an emergency.
it's an emergency if it's
I don't know,
backing
I
up
mean,
to the hospital. I mean, I know if I was making the call that day, I'd have been like, yeah, go,
Yeah.
just because it's a hospital.
Because it's a hospital.
Well, let's put it this way, we got them the help they needed. I didn't think they would do it with the guys we sent over, but they were able to do it, which worked out good. But I was gonna go find Pete and say, look, I think we should have to help them out. I mean, it's just,
Be nice if there was something we do along the lines of an agreement
I don't know.
where, you know,
We'll
it's
have to look into it.
documented and you don't have to worry about, you know, contacting, the mayor.
Well, there are certain
If it's-
things,
If it's doable and legal and if we can do something.
you would, yeah, that's a hard one to call, I think you'd.
I know.
Case by case
Because it's not a
basis.
private, I mean, it is
I
private,
wanna
but it's not
have to call
private.
it.
It's a semi-private.
Yeah, it's a service that's provided to the community.
You know,
It's health related, it's safety.
As a board member, we gotta,
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I couldn't have got Pete to call Dan, and we just had to make a decision, go with it, that's all, you know? I mean,
That's all you can do.
That's what I'm thinking, you know, go to your top.
But I think probably the thing to do is to find out, since the question has come up, is there some sort of exemption for a place like a hospital so you can do something like that?
right.
The only thing I would want from them is to have them quickly draw up something, a hold harmless, that if something happens to their pipe or something,
Yeah.
while we're trying to assist them, then the village is not responsible. You know, you want something real quick, they've got people that can draw something up pretty fast to hold harmless.
Mhm.
You know, if we go in there on a whim to try to help them in the era of safety,
Right.
hold harmless, and if that pipe blows with our jetter, well, you guys gotta put us a new thing in there. Well, no, hang on a second here, you know, like.
Because really, it would be no different if they had a catastrophe, say with a water line, you know, to get it fixed, you know, ASAP, we're equipped, we could do that. I mean, is there a way they could refund us, you know? I don't know how that works.
Well, even that's prohibited, even if they pay you, if a private entity pays us for work that we do, that's still not legal.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, is there a way that there's some sort of an emergency agreement to be set up, but then they have to
I say,
pay?
you put the question out there, what can we do? Like, the only answer I can come up with right now, and anybody in this room is gonna come up, is I gotta call somebody who's got the smarts enough to know what we can do, because I don't have the answer. So,
It would not be a bad thing to do that way, at least we
I think
whether we can or we can't.
yeah. I doubt it's in that handbook behind me, so I'm probably gonna have to call NICOM and find out from them what we can and can't do. If it's a public hospital, it wouldn't be a problem, but it's not. You know, if it's like Monroe Community Hospital up there, whatever, that's public, so you could technically go there as long as you had an arrangement with the county in that particular case. So let me check into it. Hopefully I'll have an answer by next week.
That's about it for water and sewer. Well, I will say that, on the collections, they've got it down to like under $5,000 for delinquent water users, so that's really good. That's about the lowest I've ever seen.
Under what?
5,000.
We were always happy if we got it under 19.
Usually around 10 is where it's been covered.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Yeah, she seems to be having fun down there.
Yeah.
When we don't have irate people coming in and getting on her. I guess she had another one, was it today or yesterday, Megan?
There was one yesterday,
Yeah.
I don't know if she had any today.
Mm-hmm. And you had the one last week?
Yeah, the alarm worked, so that's good.
Yeah. I heard him calling it out.
Yeah.
Supervising the road or.
I forget where I was in Rochester or something, but I heard it and I was like, oh, that's cool. It worked.
Yep, so.
I mean, not good that there was, but as good as the alarm
It worked.
She said the one yesterday, she was just about ready to push the button. I don't know, you weren't even there, were you?
No, I was there.
Were you?
Yeah, I was there. He was just very abrasive.
There's a prime example where we need some documentation on that. And having the time to do it is next to impossible. Actually, it's technically impossible to come up with a plan for that. You need something in writing. Tried to steal it from another organization, they don't have one to even attempt to mirror from. So, you know, there again is another example of easy to say, very hard to do.
What's that?
A plan on the alarm plan, a plan for the
Push a
alarm.
button and alarm goes off and somebody
Policy and procedure.
responds.
No, that's the simple part. What does staff do in the meantime while they're waiting for a responder?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I don't believe not everybody in the building is trained to handle situations when bells go off, and it made it very difficult for those of us trying to deal with the situation.
To like sound an audible alarm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we think that's a good idea?
Yes.
As a group, an audible alarm?
Yeah, I think we debated it
Yeah,
for almost a year
we went
before
through
we
that.
Did
Just like a fire alarm.
What'd the person do when the audible alarm went off?
sat down,
Became less
sat down
combative?
and waited. Yep.
But then you couldn't shut the alarm off?
You know, we do absolutely need, some information to share with everybody that's in the building, possibly some training, because depending on the individual, with the distractions that were created that shouldn't have happened, it could have jeopardized our safety. I'm happy to talk to anybody that wants to come into the office about it, but I was in a happy camper then.
Yeah. I know it took them a while to get there, right? Was Matt Cole, right?
Matt Cole
It
was the
seemed to take him a while to
responding
get there.
officer.
From what he was on another call or something.
Yes.
He was
Right,
on
emails call or
another call.
something?
Yeah, but I think his response time was good. from the time that I hit the button.
Yeah.
And I had other support that showed up as well.
Timmy?
Yep, Tim was in, and I had called,
What's
I had called, some of our another one of our
Regulars.
employees to try to get more information, and he sensed it in my tone, so I had some other people that came in, prior to hitting the button. Most likely I waited too long to sound the alarm. That's typical.
Is that the first time you guys did it, or?
Yep.
I'd say it's the first time I've heard it.
How long has that
I
been
would
in
miss
there?
it sometime.
2 years?
Year and a half?
How long have we had? It's been a while. Mine's been sitting here
We actually
dangling.
we just had to
We've been in?
troubleshoot it the other day, and we looked back, has it been
2 years probably.
Quite a while.
Been in since we
Put it in when I was on the board,
Yep.
previously.
Yep, and we
This
did,
was
we
before
did
you
a
guys,
lot
a couple
of,
years.
Since I've been on the
board.
board.
This will be for me then.
we did a lot of research at that time coming to the decision that we did,
Mhm.
and exactly how we wanted it to work. We spent a lot of time on it.
Where is the button located?
We all have, all of the staff has their own buttons, so we can use them ourselves.
Mine's right here.
Okay.
Right there, sorry. Yep.
There's basically one in every desk.
Tammy's got one, the girl's got one, the court has
So,
one.
and you can just keep it, if you travel around the building a lot, I know I do, or you're in the copy room, and, I've had, when we first started researching this, I can recall, because a lot at that time, I don't as much anymore, but I would stay right through to the meeting, so the meetings that go until 7 or whatever, and I'd be making copies, or whatever, and I've had individuals come in because the PD's right there, or you have court going on, that have come right into the copy room, and just different situations where I felt uncomfortable. So it was really nice when we were talking that was one of the things that we came up with was the portable button, because then I was able to keep it just right on my body, and I just felt more comfortable being, around and in the building, when I knew I was just kind of by myself. I don't run into that as much anymore, but.
The officers make passes through the office periodically throughout the day, but it's just like running radar, or sitting on a stop sign, people run the stop sign with a patrol car sitting there. They're probably not gonna get heavily involved with the police officer standing there. But you might, on occasion, we randomly came through and someone's getting a little keyed up, and it calms them down. But it's random, it's shot in the dark.
DMV involved in that too?
They have their own.
Yeah, they have their own system.
Learning something new.
Yep.
I didn't know that was even installed. Didn't even know they had one. We had one.
They've always had something down there, it's just before it didn't go anywhere.
We had, we had a couple of doorbell buttons, just at the desks out front. Just the girls out front, and it rang only into the police department downstairs.
Well, there used to be a dispatcher that said that, so.
And then there was clerical people 70 hours a week, and that's gone by the wayside as well, so it just doesn't work as well. So we went to this.
So when I think when we first started reviewing this, I believe, one of the girls downstairs had received like a death threat or like a comment along those lines, but it's not uncommon for us to, have to, I guess, just kind of work with people to calm them down. We do get people that come in that are irrational because they are in difficult situations. We shut their water off. That's a big deal. And that can cause somebody to be very stressful. So we do work on we take pride in the fact that I do anyways. I can talk a lot of people off the ledge, and we've, and if anyone else is in a difficult situation, I'll always come out to stand and be present. And, we've never had to use the button before, but now we did. So now we just have to revisit and, just make sure that everybody understands, what it is, what it's for. In case it ever had to happen again, unfortunately.
So when it went off, there was people that didn't know what it was even about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the reason that we have the bells is because it's the fight or flight mentality. Right. I mean, the bad guy, they're either going to leave and they're going to leave you alone, or they're going to do whatever they're going to do, which is what they're there for anyways. But by having the bells, that alerts our coworkers and other people that are around, either A, come help me, or B, get out of the building.
Lock your door.
You know what I mean? Or stay put, or don't come in the building, if you're somebody trying to come in from outside for, you know, whatever the reason is, that's what it's supposed to do. You know, maybe, some folks, maybe they just thought it was a test or something like that, I'm not sure, we haven't really talked to anybody or asked around. We're just trying to get, you know, our stuff
We do
situated.
the sheriff's office does a civilian response to active shooter training. So it would be similar. But I wonder if we don't want to do it for every village in the county. Well, there's not a lot of villages, but every town. But maybe I can find out when they're having one. Might be something worth going to, I mean, for you guys. It's like a 4-hour class or something, and
I think so.
I think a lot of our SROs already are instructors in it.
Right.
So I mean, it's not bad.
That's why I intended to have one of them come down and do one.
Well, it's just people don't deal with difficult situations every day, so I think it's easy, I guess, you know, depending on how your brain works, I think it's just easy to say, oh, it's nothing, or oh, it's just a test, or whatever,
Right.
because it's not something you deal
Yeah,
with every day.
I'll send them an email
You'll have
tomorrow.
training or
I'll send them
whatever.
to Galvin and see what the schedule is, and we can figure something out, because it's similar, you know, I'm sure that's all part of it, you know, belligerent /
Yeah, that would
situation
be
type
very
thing.
helpful.
So, yeah, I'll
You know,
check it out.
and I think too, like, we've had a lot of conversations, you know, and it kind of broke my heart because Jess said to me, I don't know when I can hit my button.
Whenever
You
you
can
feel
hit your
uncomfortable.
button anytime you feel that
Right,
you
when you
need
think
to
you
hit
need
your
to.
button. You do not ever have to have an explanation, you know, if you feel that your safety is, you
Right.
know, could be
Whenever you feel
jeopardized.
threatened.
Anytime you feel threatened,
Right.
you know, it makes
Yeah.
you sad. So how many other people feel that way? And I know how long it took me to hit the button. I mean, you know,
I wonder if there was a way to have, like, hate to say this, but like, you think things are starting to go down the wrong path. So you feel like it would be nice if someone would come and help you, or at least start your way. Almost like, you'd hate to say like 2 buttons. One that would be a silent button so that they don't realize it. So at this point, you've reached down, you've hit the button, you know that the alarm's gonna be called, the PD is gonna be on their way, but at this point, things are going on in the wrong direction. Or to the point where things have gone astray and we need help right here and now you hit I mean, I don't know if that's even a thought or
could our
process.
buttons be one button, call, you know, hit it
One
once,
button,
hit it a
panic.
second time,
You should have to check with Doyle and see what they
See
could
what
do
they
on
have,
something
but
like
you know,
that.
I mean, then that way, if, you would never think like, someone comes in and they're starting to head down that road and Jess is thinking like, well, it's not gotten to that point
Right.
yet, but it could very well be, and so she just says, you know, silent alarm, and now you know, she knows help's coming, and now if it starts to even go worse, she goes, you know what, I'm gonna give this guy the what to, bada bing, and, you know, now you got an audible alarm, cause that will alert other people to, hey, come. Yeah, I mean, just a thought, I'm just,
Right. I think that is a very good idea. You know, rather than trying to fumble around and do what I did and try to make calls or notify, you know, that I may or may not need assistance.
well,
You know,
once
at
you
that
hit
point,
that
I
button and
wasn't
that call
sure.
goes to 911, you're
Yep.
getting assistance
Mhm.
until they can clear the alarm. So, like, I know that what we do is we're coming either way.
Right.
That way, if someone has a gun and they're saying, tell them you're all
Yeah.
set, we still come and check it out.
Right.
You know, because we'd rather have a face-to-face and know you're good, so that, you know, we all feel comfortable when we walk away.
You know, and I think it's just getting everybody to, you know, too at any point, you know, if you feel uncomfortable, but you're not to the degree where you feel like you need an officer, you're more than welcome to ask anybody at any time to leave the office.
Yep.
You know, and that somebody will follow up with them later, but that they are not welcome there at that point. You know, and it's just getting everybody to, you know, I don't know what the DMV does, but
Well, I know you guys
that is
always-
absolutely how I
Yeah, you
operate.
just have to be polite as you can be initially and see how they react to that. If they don't react in a positive way, then you take it to the next step. What you say, it could be a silent button or whatever, or,
Yeah, we're the paying customers, so, I mean, if they can give you a silent button and an audible alarm, then I think
And
that's
they
something
say
that
even
we
if
should
it's a
look at.
2-button
DMV
push,
doesn't
you
have it
know.
right now.
They don't, right.
That's what I was hoping for us.
But it's just not fair, you should be able to feel comfortable.
But those are
coming to
things
work.
like maybe that training, I'm not
Right.
sure what that would offer, but, you know, things like that, you know, give the employees, you know, different tactics, things that
Right.
they can say that they can feel comfortable saying, you know.
Well, we're talking, what, 5 people? Well, got the court too. They've got one in there, right?
Yep,
Mhm.
they have 2 panic buttons,
Yeah.
so.
I've got one, Tammy
'cause they
has
always have
one,
2 employees,
got the 3 of you down in that office.
yep.
Does,
Yep, Heather has one, Tammy's clerk has one.
Heather's behind closed doors though, if she's in there, so I
yeah.
mean,
But we're
Does
assuming-
Barb have one?
We're assuming she overhears something going on.
And she's back and forth too, she's back and forth to our office, to the copy room, we're all over the
Is
place.
there one over there for Barb too?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, so, you know, just a few things to look into and, you know, that we should work through, and until you're put in that situation, you don't really,
Think
you know, you
about
don't
it.
even really think about it. I mean, I think a couple days before that, I was like, cause something happened and we had to reset the box, right? Yeah, like some battery warning or something, so the box and the PD was going off, so we had to reset it. And I was like, I don't even know where my button is. It was kind of like a joke. I mean, I didn't know where it was. It was just sitting by my computer, but I really didn't know, because I got comfortable myself. And I located it and found it, and thank goodness I did, you know, so, whatever, so it keeps it fresh for
We'll look into it. How about streets? Got nothing more from water and sewer.
Streets.
That was your cue there, trustee LeBar.
Good report.
I guess I'd like to ask your guys' permission, down at our shop, I've been looking at it since the day I walked in the door, but both floors, I think Pete, you've been down there, the floors are shot in both of our shops. What I'd like to do is, and I'm not sure which side we do first, but Boys just did the side where they had their brakes and things, painted it all, it looks nice in there, so I don't know if I wanna go and jack that side up, but, you know, another 3 weeks from now, we'll be outside, and it's gone again. I need just a couple days to do it, but what I'd like to do is, you know, jack them out and re-pour them. It's probably $2,200 for the concrete, and I would probably throw some PEX piping in there, and then hopefully someday down the road, hook it up and actually heat the shop with that in-pour heat, because that shop is not a very pleasant place to be in the wintertime. It's like an ice box.
You're talking the one right there off your office?
That part and Eddie's side.
Okay.
So, I guess I'm asking, I only have a couple $1,000s in that building maintenance budget, so I'd have to, you know, move a little money from another fund, but just do like 1/2 now and then maybe next week do the other half. I don't think anybody's got an issue with that.
You got the money in the budget.
That's Dan's line.
I trained you well.
Yes, you did.
Today we had to take there's a new excavator certification training that everybody has to do that runs any equipment, digging wise. It's a new state mandate, so 8 of us went up today. That was an all-day affair, but so now there's 4 of us that have to take an online test tomorrow, and pretty much everybody will be certified in the village, which is good. Guys at the plant aren't yet, but we'll get them certified at a later date. So that's done and out of the way. But now in a couple of weeks, maybe a week or so if the weather holds, we'll get out, start on some projects again.
Do you have it all lined up with a blacktopping company or whatever you need to do for Seward Street? I mean, is that all set and ready to go?
Yep.
So it's
We
not
gotta
like,
do some drainage first and some curbing, get that done first.
but we'll be able to get a blacktopper in here, no problems?
No problem.
Nice.
No, it's easy at the beginning of the year to get guys.
How about the railings and all that, are they?
Eddie's put up some,
Okay.
yeah.
I haven't been driven up through there because it's been closed off, so.
Yeah, I think they've got all the ones on the little cross bridges. He's got the other ones all built. He's just welding the feet on those now, so that lower section will, I would imagine this week will be all done, you know. So they're gonna have some more on the upper side.
Getting a lot of questions about that from the residents of
Chestnut.
Chestnut Avenue and Seward.
Oh, when that's gonna get opened up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad we didn't make it last year, you know.
Well, I explained to them, you know, that just,
I mean,
plant closed down about a week early. Both
it was in a
plants.
week, like 2 days, is
Yeah.
all we needed. They were gonna do McDonald's.
Yeah, I did you a favor, I said a week, don't worry about it.
Well, if we didn't get all that early snow, if you remember, we had the biggest snowstorm of the year was almost the 1st of November.
And it
You know what
got
I mean?
cold too, really cold.
Mhm.
Remember that cold cold snap.
Yeah, it was summer one week and.
We almost made it, we were close.
Yeah. Anyway,
So anyway, that's about it on the street
You
side.
got to the church yet. To take care of the Methodist church,
Yeah.
that's the second project after the Seward Street.
number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, number one, we gotta be sure.
Gotta open up that street.
Speaking of number 2, compost policy, it's been on the action item list forever.
The
Well, it's
what?
been on there, but it's probably gonna, we already have a policy down there, we just have to implement it, but right now. our
What are we talking about?
Compost
Compost.
policy.
Oh, compost,
Been
yeah.
on that action item list forever.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
we
been.
could, we
It's
could
on there almost
finalize
as
it,
long as
but,
caulking the statue.
but at this point, the statute, I don't think I.
We haven't given anything out, so we don't need
That guy
to.
got scared away.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, we don't give any out, Norm, that's kinda why that's still sitting there. And we can finish it
What are
off,
we doing with it?
we're using it ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All
We
of it.
mix it in with the leaves and everything.
Okay. Know what we're doing with it.
Yep.
It happens.
Looks good.
There'll come a point when we'll probably be able to give some away.
We have to have a place to distribute.
Right,
That's
that's
our
going
problem.
back to the
Then you're back.
building the barn
We
or
don't wanna
whatever.
pay taxes on and all
Right.
that.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
remember,
The building, or the lean-to down there.
As long as we can keep using it, that's the best way, I think.
but if we put a portable structure in,
We'll have to ask zoning on that one.
Is that everything, Scott?
I'm
Hey,
good.
you guys-
Other than, we need to have a quick executive at the end for.
No, we don't.
No,
You didn't tell me.
Matt and I told you we were.
No, you
in the
didn't.
office, remember?
You didn't remind me.
Sorry. I'm just kidding you.
just,
That's
Are we getting
okay.
any requests?
We can do it next Tuesday.
No, we'll do it tonight.
Are we getting any outside
Give it to 'em,
requests,
Pete.
to use our composting facilities or anything like that?
To bring stuff in?
Yeah.
Yes, quite a few.
And how we addressing them?
Right now, if you go down to the plant and look, we're probably like at 75 or 80%. Everybody that wants to come in wants to bring a lot of stuff in, we just can't do it. You don't have the room. Wasn't really built for that, to bring in,
Right.
We could do Wayland, we've been talking back and forth with Wayland. But the problem is when you bring it in, like Pradeep from DEC called like a month ago, and the Polio plant, they wanted to bring their material up, but I mean, you're talking major amounts of material. There's just no way we could do that. And then once it gets here, I had to remind Pradeep of that, we have to keep it all separate, all the way through.
Right.
And,
We have to document it all for ourselves, and that's another pile of paperwork.
And with Randy being gone, at the time, there was only 2 guys down there, only basically Doug as an operator. I didn't think we needed to get into that,
So is there ever gonna be a time when we'll be in a position to reconsider that?
Yeah, if we wanna put another building up.
I mean, we had talked about that in the very beginning.
We did, but if you go down and actually look at I didn't think we'd use all that building. When they first built that thing, I'm like, there's no way we could use all this room, but they do.
Okay.
They build 6 piles and they've got, the other piles. It just takes so long to get it through. There's so many tests you gotta do, you gotta hold it.
Wasn't this time of year a bad time of the year too to be doing it? Takes longer?
Yeah, well, it's just, when it's freezing temperatures out, yeah, so
Mhm.
it takes longer for it to, cure basically. But everything is running smooth down there. Why rock the boat with, and for what you're gonna get out of it,
Right.
I'll take the Centridge all day long.
We're still hooked up with LMC and what they're doing down there?
Yeah, right now, they haven't done anything. They got a lot of pipe setting there, but nothing's moved. But right now, their permit's expired with us. They've gotta do some more sampling and testing and stuff.
I mean, they're still running the business down there, right? Or is it just kind of at a standstill at this
It's at a
point?
standstill right now. Pipe sits there and.
So they're not, they're getting, the pipes are being shipped, but they're just sitting there.
Right.
I think it's just the season, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't let you
start
go in
back
the winter
up in
either. It's,
April.
yeah, it's hard on those guys too.
They'll start back up.
Okay.
Building issues are all settled there.
They'll start up in the spring again.
Yeah, everything's good. Actually, we sent them everything.
I
They-
just sent her half
Yeah,
and the rest of it, because there was an issue with scanning, so I told her though that the rest of it's coming.
that was a lot of documents.
Yep.
But no, they're paying their bills and they're invoiced and everything should be good on that end. Just waiting for them to clean more pipe.
Okay.
You got something there?
Yeah.
Christopher?
I know that a while back when there was gonna be a business that was gonna be using, putting a building up on Lower Main Street, there was a talk about us stripping the property of the topsoil.
So that's with the school now.
So has there been any further talk on that? And if so, is that something that we would want to discuss here? Because someone had brought something up to me about it, about us taking that
Yeah, I don't know
topsoil
where
away.
We have a draft, or it's just a sample intermunicipal agreement with the school. It hasn't been obviously given to the board or anything yet for approval. But it, you know, Scott's looked at it.
I think basically they've got to get it approved before, there will be a rush once that happens, I'm sure.
My question is if we're going to go in there and strip the topsoil, right? They're going to want some topsoil to have back on them fields, correct?
Yes.
They were
So what are we going to really get out of it other than we're going to go in there and do a bunch of
Well,
work?
that's the issue. How much are they gonna need? How much are we gonna get?
That's an estimate that they had to come up with.
Well, the other thing is if we're going to clear cut the property, what seems to me like, and then we're going to have to pay for 10-wheelers to haul it out of there and whatever. By the time we look at our gain, I think our gain is going to be a loss.
Well, you gotta look at it two ways. You know, one, you're helping the school, but.
I get it, no, but I understand that 100%, but I look at the village
No,
taxpayer dollars
I
here.
get it, but then you gotta look at what, you know what load of topsoil costs?
No, I have no idea. That's why I was hoping to get a cost comparison out of what we're going to have invested as and what our return is, because it's got to be a positive on our end as well.
Yeah.
It has to be a positive on our end. We
The
can't.
topsoil is fairly deep, as I recall, down there.
And they've got some pretty good sized parking lots and things, so there'll be quite a bit of excess. And we would just go down and remove the trees, grind those up, because we need chips bad. So that to me is, you know, a wash, if you will. And then we would just dig the stumps out, and then somebody else would come in and take the topsoil, push it up into a pile, and then we would just go load it out. So we don't like have to handle all the topsoil or anything down there on site. That would be up to the contractors to come in and take care of that.
And where's it going, topsoil?
We would take it up to the dump, and stockpile it.
Stockpile
And
it
then use it for later, for sidewalks and everything we do around the village.
Okay.
Any mess we make.
What's the school putting in there?
I heard a soccer field.
Tennis courts and the soccer field, 5 tennis courts, I believe.
Really?
Pickleball.
Well, they're reducing the scope of the project because they want to put most of everything out in back of the.
There was a
school building.
presentation last night that I was at that I seen. They're going to be presenting. It was presented last night, so I guess and the paper was there, so it's open for the public to know. They're presenting a turf field and everything out back. Stadium type situation, not stadium, but
Behind the school?
behind the school.
Yep.
There'll be a turf field going out there. They're going to be doing work on each of the individual of each of the schools itself, and then the tennis court will be going behind the new board office, and then the soccer field. But they're proposing, and that'll go out to vote according to last night. Again, this is open to the public, so I feel free to say it. June 25th will be voted on. I mean, sounds like if it's either now or never, because they're going to be changing the laws in regards to the aid.
Yeah, the amount of aid they will get will be substantially higher if they get it done before the 1st of July than if they wait until after, because then the formula becomes almost cost prohibitive.
Yes. So right now you have to do $5 million worth of work, if I remember correctly, before the aid starts kicking in and covering a whole bunch of that, like 80 to 90% of it. After July 1st, there's a proposal through the state that you have to do $20 million worth of capital improvements before aid will kick in. So they said you'd have to build almost a new school to get aid on it. So that's why, and it's the numbers that were run last night after I left, but we're still are almost at a no cost of increase in any school taxes. So I mean, it's a win-win situation for this village. I would really hope that the people of the village would get behind it, because if at no cost of raising of your taxes, and we can get this project done, I mean, it's going to be beneficial for years to have a situation like that.
That property you're talking about, the topsoil, that's where they were gonna clean that out for the Matthews
Yes.
buses?
Yes.
I had just heard that. I was like, I haven't heard
There's an
anything
update
about it.
on
So.
that. I
They've been
know
keeping
they're
it
not
low key. I was
They're not
aware of
gonna
it.
use it now. They're not using Matthews bus office is not gonna use it.
They don't even own it anymore.
They're
The school owns
moving.
all of it.
But the school owns that,
Yep.
and they want us to clean it out. trees and everything.
Well, for a topsoil or something, but again, I'd have to see the cost prohibitive to where it's gonna be at least a.
If we can get 50 lows, that's what I figured, then, we'll make out very well.
As long as we're at least even, I don't wanna go behind.
Oh, no, we wouldn't be behind at all. As long as we have is the cost of the truck.
Well, like you
Two
say-
trucks for a day, I mean, that'd be it.
Yep, the
How much
numbers,
does
I
trucking
guess,
cost?
more than anything.
And if we had our own 10-wheelers, we'd.
Yeah. do that.
Well-
Might be able to get Jimmy to help me on that one. Cost us anything.
That would be the ideal.
Yeah.
We should know far enough in advance on something like that, because they're gonna be going to, according to a schedule.
Yep.
And that's always been his complaint, not, that you're always too much, last minute. So if we can get that done, it shouldn't be an issue.
Well, if you saw it, we only had a week to get it out of there, so it would be an issue probably.
I'm just saying. Okay, anything else on water and sewer? Land, streets, whatever. I will move then to Parks and Rec. Just that the Claire Barton Monument project is coming along. They've got Jeff Swift as the, is getting involved with it. I don't know if you know Jeff, lives over here in the
Yep.
Hair Place upstairs. He owns the building. We already talked about the farmer's market. That looks like that's going along well. Technology, codification update.
No update
Other than the public hearing next week and the vote.
yeah, and the vote to pass
And after
the
that,
law to accept it.
then we should be good to go.
Yep.
And see, the walking tour, that seems to be working well now. So, all goes according to schedule. The official launch will be during Dogwood Week, probably that Saturday sometime. And maybe we can also set up, at that time, a dedication of Pioneer Park. It never really got ever done, so we can bring Jane down and give her a pat on the back, Jane Shriver. She was the one behind that.
Questioning on, backing up the streets is questioning on the 911 street extensions too.
Well, I probably should have asked Tammy on that, because I'll be perfectly honest, I was gonna ask her about that, but she's been gone, the first 3 days here this week.
Do you remember what the name of the street was for West Jefferson?
We're leaving that at West Jefferson. That street's, they said was fine like it is.
Oh.
The ones they were concerned with were the ones that had extension. Like, Seward Street extension and, Elizabeth Street extension.
Why would you have?
Nothing. I just was wondering, I was talking with someone that lived down there, and I said, I thought that was the street that was gonna get changed in name.
No, they
New
said.
name company, he's like, okay.
I guess 911 had both those
I was
names
hoping that was
already.
gonna be Applin Way.
Wheat Brick Way or?
Yeah.
Down there in front of Jeff's, I was hoping it was gonna be Applin Way.
911 already had, I guess, both Jefferson Street extension and West Jefferson, so they're just not even gonna worry about the West Jefferson part.
We're gonna name that Vote Terrace.
Yeah, that's okay. I'd rather be named after, or have my name put on the sewer plant. Garbage in, garbage out. Anyway, but I haven't heard any more. I'm not sure how soon we're gonna get that done. Hopefully sometime this year.
We gotta remember to ask her when next Tuesday she comes in.
Yeah, I'll ask her tomorrow. Don't let me.
There's some, the people that are asking
Yep.
questions. Because they're kinda excited about it, so they wanna,
Yep, Dick's family.
yeah,
Extended family. Well, his daughter too.
yeah, they wanna make sure that they make a deal out of it, so it's a good
Hey,
thing.
not a problem at all. I don't have any issue with that. So I'll ask that tomorrow and try to get it back to everybody on it. Anything else?
Just note that Denny Cox passed away.
Yes, did hear that.
Retired police officer and past board member.
Yeah.
Calling hours are next Thursday night, 4 to 7 at Foursquare. Funeral's Friday morning at 11 at Foursquare.
Thursday this week or Thursday?
Next week.
Next week. Okay.
22nd, 23rd, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's passed away today.
Yeah, I heard about it this morning, but I was thinking maybe next week's meeting we can do a moment of silence for Denny in his honor. He was a trustee,
Yeah.
as well as a retired police officer.
He's also a police officer, right? good one too.
Okay. If there aren't any other issues to be brought up, to be entertained for next week's agenda, I would then entertain, or at this point, a motion to go into executive session to discuss a personnel issue. Well, I should say to discuss a work history issue with Scott.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion from trustee Zay and a second from trustee Rittenhouse. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Everybody's
Thank you, everyone. The time is 7:35.
Good thing you pointed that out. 'Cause
And I'll try to give you the other type. Did I give you the ones for last month?
Thank you. Did you have an executive session last month?
Yeah, we did.
I'd have to check.
It's rare that we don't ever have an executive session.
True.
I didn't call for it.
You usually email it to me. I can just
Yeah.
check. I'll let you know if not.
Okay.
You probably did. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Is this still on?